Hello, I'm Neil Quigley. Welcome to the latest episode of my Blogcast. Hope you're good and you've had a decent few weeks. We had Easter, of course, a lovely long bank holiday weekend where I actually, for a change, did very little. I went to stay with my girlfriend for the entire weekend. In fact, I got there the Wednesday before, so she got some extra time with me over that period. What a wonderful Easter gift. We didn't do that much on the Friday. We just took it easy, actually did a few jobs that she needed to do around the house, which I helped out with in different ways, sometimes by assisting and carrying stuff, other times by staying completely out the way. It's a good system and it kind of works for us. We did go out for a meal on Good Friday night, courtesy of Pizza Express. The night before we went on holiday, we ordered a takeaway from them, and after waiting over 2 hours for it to arrive, constantly checking and tracking it on their app, which kept saying, oh, it's been picked up or it hasn't been picked up, you've got a delivery driver, you haven't got a delivery driver. Well, eventually a delivery driver turns up at the door and tries to deliver us an empty box with nothing in it. He still wants us to give our code. We politely declined because, well, we hadn't had our pizza. So obviously we took a photo of the empty delivery box he came with, and to cut a long story short, they did refund us the money that we'd paid for the takeaway we never got. And as a goodwill gesture, they gave us a free classic pizza. It's been Linda's birthday recently, and they also gave her a free classic pizza for a birthday gift. She has the app, so she gets free sides and free dough balls usually every time she goes anyway. So we decided to treat ourselves to a bit of a bargain Pizza Express trip. We went there. We did have a few drinks each, which obviously bumped up the bill slightly, but both our mains and one of our sides were covered, and I was unbelievably not really feeling dessert that night, which is very rare for me. Maybe I was just a little bit upset by what had happened religiously that day. Who knows? Anyway, we did have a very nice, very reasonably priced meal there, and it won't put us off eating at Pizza Express, our delivery experience, but we may think twice about getting a delivery from them. On the Saturday, we went on a shopping trip to look at the big Marks and Spencers at London Colney. Last time I was there, I did a bit of celebrity spotting and saw Lee Francis. This time, I kept my eyes well and truly open, but did not spot any famous people. We had a very long and good look round the Marks and Spencers there. Linda had some vouchers for her birthday to spend there, so she was looking at clothes. I also had a very good look around the men's section. Now, I'm really fussy about what sort of clothes I buy. I don't think I have a particular style as such. I just kind of know what I like, and if I'm honest, I only wear about 4 different colours: blue, black, grey, and very occasionally brown. That's about it. Only found one item I was slightly interested in, but decided not to buy it. Linda did manage to get at least one item with her vouchers. We had a good look round the food hall as well and treated ourselves to some very nice steaks before we went upstairs to the big cafe there just to get a bit of a lunchtime snack. I was a bit surprised by the setup. It caught me out. Instead of just queuing at the counter, speaking to a person and getting your food given to you, they've gone a bit McDonald's style in this particular Marks and Spencer's cafe. You place your order on the screens, and this is where it either got slightly odder. Then you take one of the table buzzers that I've had before that usually buzz. You go and collect your own food in various restaurants. That was not how they were using these. You took your little table buzzer, I'll call it, even though it didn't buzz, and basically it tells whoever is bringing your food what table you are sat at. I don't know. Maybe there's a chip in the sandwich you've ordered. Ours did arrive. Well, I say ours did arrive. We were waiting for our food. Then we heard a mighty crash like somebody dropping a tray. Just for a joke, Linda said, I bet that's probably our food. There was a bit of a gap between anything appearing. Then my gluten-free toasty appeared with an apology saying that Linda's food had unfortunately been dropped, so she'd have to wait a little bit longer for hers. Now, I'm not sure if mine was actually dropped or not, because the way they do the gluten-free toasties is they actually cook them within a brown paper bag. So I suppose technically, if you drop mine on the floor, as long as it didn't look too dented, you could brush it off and give it to me. I'm not saying they did that. I'm just saying my food came out a lot quicker than Linda's did. That said, it tasted fine and I survived eating it, so it's all good, I think. That evening, rather than going out, we just did ourselves a very simple but effective steak and chips meal with the steaks we'd bought, and we had a couple of nice glasses of Lambrusco, which is a red sparkling wine I accidentally discovered a couple of years ago when we did one of the Love Cheese online tastings, and they sent us some Italian red fizz, which blew my mind. Theirs tasted amazing. This one we got from Marks and Spencer's was also very nice and went very well with the steaks. We had a nice relaxing evening in, just catching up on some telly. In fact, we watched the entire second series of Last One Laughing, which again I thought was very good. They seem to be a lot better at it this time than the first series. I think that's often the case when you get to a second series of any sort of show like this, because once people have seen it and seen how it works, they can work out their own tactics a bit better. It took them ages to laugh. At one point, Jimmy Carr was having to employ a dirty tricks campaign, or they could have had, at one point, probably 7 winners. I won't say who won in the end, in case you've not seen it, but it was really good, and I expect they'll make a 3rd, 4th and maybe 5th series. There's enough comedians in the UK alone, I reckon, probably to make another 8 series. After a very relaxing Easter Sunday where we didn't do very much at all, we did decide to go out for dinner in the evening. There's a very nice Turkish style restaurant about 5 minutes walk away from where Linda lives. We really like it there. The food is fantastic, and basically the only item that has gluten in a lot of their mains and starters is bread, which they can remove. Therefore, pretty much I can have anything I fancy on the menu with a slight tweak from them. I've eaten in there several times. They've always looked after me. So we had a wonderful meal in there and a couple of nice glasses of wine. The only slight disappointment for me was normally in there they have a gluten-free San Sebastian cheesecake which comes covered in warm chocolate sauce and is amazing. As I was finishing my main, I was already dreaming of that pudding. Sadly, when I came to order it, they didn't have any. They'd already run out, which was a bit disappointing, but I did manage to just about get over it eventually. The thing is, we will be back there soon, so I'll have that cheesecake again, and I only had it about 2 weeks before anyway, so I think we're all good. We did actually have something to do on the Easter bank holiday Monday. One of Linda's cousins was celebrating her 50th birthday, and she was having just a bit of a family gathering at her sister's house down in Dorset, which did mean a bit of a road trip. Possibly, you would think, not the ideal day to do a road trip on Easter bank holiday Monday, but on the way down there was a bit of traffic, but we made good time and we actually got to the party earlier than the start time. So we had that debate outside. We were about 20 minutes early. We were like, do we just hang about here and wait in and around the car, probably alerted all the neighbours, meaning they might think about calling the police on us? Or do we simply go to the party, knock on the door, apologise and admit we're early? We decided to go and knock on the door and apologise that the traffic was actually a lot better than we were expected, so we got there earlier than we thought. We were the first ones to arrive, but they were fine about it. They let us in, made us a cup of tea, and we got chatting and settled in, which was great. Had a fantastic afternoon. Her family are very, very nice, very chatty, very friendly, and the house where it was being held had a huge, great conservatory as part of the kitchen, which was where we all sat. Worked out perfectly. Enough room for everybody to sit down and talk with each other. And the best bit for me, the birthday girl and her sister who was hosting the party, both like me, have allergies and can't eat certain foods. With me being a celiac, I cannot go anywhere near gluten. Even the tiniest bit of gluten can make me really ill, so I have to be very careful. They are in the same boat as me, so they did a full-on party buffet, but there was a separate section that was fully gluten-free with lots of great party food. That is the first time that has ever happened to me since I've been diagnosed as celiac. Normally, I can't touch a buffet at all. I bring my own sandwiches. To have a selection of sandwiches, cakes, sausage rolls and quiches was amazing. Needless to say, I overate because I was just so excited to have so much choice. I should have saved a bit back though, because even better, they had a fully gluten-free cakes section with lots of different options, including one of my favourite treats as a child that I just don't see gluten-free very often. Gluten-free chocolate cornflake cakes. I had far too many of those, more than I would say what should have been my allocated allowance, but I really, really like them and don't often see them. That's my excuse. And they did have a large gluten-free chocolate cake, which I was going to be really good and avoid, but the host suggested I have a slice, and who am I to argue with them? So I was pretty full by the time we left there and attacked the bank holiday Monday traffic. As it happened, and bearing in mind we were travelling now back from Dorset, the run back wasn't too bad. There was a bit of traffic, but we actually got back probably slightly quicker than it took us to get down there, which was a bit strange. Fantastic afternoon, and as I said, it was so amazing having part of the buffet that was fully gluten-free. Last weekend, it was one of my annual events that I go to every single year. I've been doing it now for over 17 years. I have a mate, Jeff, who lives in Liverpool, and I always go up to see him and his friends and family for the Aintree Grand National weekend. It's such a tried and tested formula we use for the weekend. Linda and I travel up on the Thursday. For the last 4 years, we've rented this amazing apartment in Crosby, which was originally owned by the gentleman who started the White Star Line company, the company who owned a certain boat called the Titanic. He built it and lived there. Then his son lived there for a bit as well. It was a huge, huge house. It's now been converted into apartments and a huge dining room. We stay in the billiard room apartment, which was originally just the house's billiard room, but it now contains a conservatory, a massive great lounge area, small kitchen, large bedroom and large bathroom. It is huge, but the decor, the way it looks and the fact you're overlooking the Mersey is amazing. Obviously it was built by a guy who owns a shipping company, so therefore there's a reason it faces the Mersey. You can see every single ship that leaves or enters the Mersey. A lot of the big ones go out at night, so you can see them all lit up going past. And when the guy originally owned it, he used to salute at every ship that went past. So when I'm staying there and I see a ship, I just feel I have to do the same. As I said, it's a tried and tested formula. The people who we rent the place off very kindly left us a small bottle of Prosecco each. So Linda and I had that as we settled into the place. Then we went to a restaurant we stumbled across 3 years ago and have been every year since, called Tapas. As you might have imagined, it is a tapas restaurant, and they have a good selection of gluten-free food, with the best thing we found, a fully gluten-free paella, which we have had the last few years and which we ordered once again. It is cooked fresh from scratch. It is only for a minimum of 2 people, and there is a waiting time of at least 45 minutes for it, but it is absolutely worth it. It tastes amazing and you get loads of it as well. It's a very generous serving. The wine in there is very good, which does help pass the time, and we both had a starter just to fill the time and just to line the stomach a bit for the wine before the main course arrives. Once again, the paella was fantastic, and this year we must have timed our hunger right, because we actually managed to finish it in the restaurant. The past few years we've ended up taking a quart of it home in a box to eat later. From there, we always go and meet my mate Jeff for a couple of drinks in a pub just down the road, just to have a good catch up with him. Then it's home to get a good night's sleep before the next morning it's time to get up, get showered, get our suits on, get some breakfast inside us, because the Friday is the day we always go to Ladies' Day at the Grand National Festival at Aintree. Once we're ready, Jeff picks us up and takes us to his place where we have the pre-racing party, which is usually music and a few drinks, which is exactly what we did this year. We also start the photo taking there. There was a group of us going, so we got a taxi to the course, got ourselves in. We were in the festival zone when Jeff and I started going together about 17 years ago. The festival zone was just one tent and the tickets were about £25. Now the tickets are around £55, but the festival zone is huge. There is now a giant semi-permanent structure which is massive with a band on. There's about 4 different bars and areas you can visit. You can see the pre-parade ring. There are areas you can go out to the course to watch the racing. It has just got bigger and bigger. We, I'll be honest, tend to stay inside the bars, listen to the music and watch the racing on the screen for this one, which is very unusual for me because I do love seeing the horse racing and watching it live, but it's just always been the Aintree tradition of what we do. I was on the Prosecco for the day, and I wasn't the only one drinking it. There was quite a few of us, including Linda and Jeff's sister, so I was sharing bottles with them. After this happened accidentally a few years ago, Linda likes me and her to match. She likes us to have a combination, so her dress matches my tie and pocket square possibly, or maybe her handbag and shoes match my tie or my suit. Once again, we worked it out perfectly this year. She had a green dress, I had my light coloured suit, green tie and pocket square. All worked absolutely fantastically. In fact, as the day goes on, we always get lots of great photos of us getting slightly more tipsy as the day goes on. And to prove how good the colour matching was, there's a picture of me holding Linda's bag, which matches perfectly with my suit. And a bit later on, there was a picture of Linda with my jacket over her green dress, which again matches absolutely perfectly. So how we didn't win the couple style award this year, I don't know. I think maybe we have to have a steward's inquiry on that one. We always leave before the last race just because there's 50,000 people there. Everybody's trying to get away and get into a bar or get back into Liverpool city centre, so we leave a little bit early. If you walk a fair way down the road, there is a place where taxis are allowed to stop and you can book a taxi from. So that's what we do. We managed to get ourselves a taxi. We are all getting a bit older now. Years ago, it would always be straight into Liverpool city centre to party the night away. Nowadays, we tend to stay in and around Crosby, which is great. There's lots of great bars there and it's a lovely area. Firstly, we went to one called the Iron Man, which was really good. We managed to get in there in time to secure seats for ourselves. They didn't have any gluten-free beer there, so I remained on the Prosecco. They did have some cocktails, and a couple of them caught Linda's eye, so she thought it might be a good idea to try them, and I was in no mood to argue. They did a toffee apple flavour old-fashioned, which I've had old-fashioned before. Linda really loves it as a cocktail, and it's one of her go-tos. I always find it, if I'm honest, a little bit harsh and bitter. The toffee apple one, however, obviously makes things a bit sweeter, so I really like that. And the other one we tried was a hazelnut espresso martini. That again was very nice. So we finished the cocktails, had a few more drinks, and then Jeff wanted us to go to a new bar that had opened round the corner, a jazz bar where there's a live pianist playing away. He said it was really good. It was upstairs at this other bar, so we went over there. Now, you do lose track of time, really, when you're spending all day at Aintree and the races. You have a few drinks, you come out and go to a bar. So actually, somehow, we probably arrived there too early. We were the first ones in there. Even at that point, the pianist had not arrived to play. There was a bar open though, so we had a couple of drinks. The man playing the piano did appear, although not before we managed to get a couple of joke photos of us pretending to play it. When he did start playing, we were the only ones in there still. He was very nice, very good and very patient, and luckily had a decent sense of humour, because we may have been slightly tipsy by that point, so maybe not the ideal audience for him, though we did applaud every song. Then we decided it was time to head back to Jeff's for, of course, more drinks and to listen to music, which is a very big part of our weekend. We're both massively into music, so we do like to get back and have a bit of a party. Also, what we always do is get a takeaway pizza. The only one I could really have in the area is a Domino's, so I had the gluten-free Domino's pizza. Linda managed to organise getting us the food and sorting all that out, and then Linda and I got a taxi back to our apartment and we called it a night after, of course, I'd saluted a few more ships on their way out of the Mersey. Grand National Day itself, we booked ourselves into a lovely restaurant called Azul Monkey, which we'd been to the year before. They take celiac disease very seriously and have a great gluten-free menu, and also when you order their cappuccino it comes with a monkey's face in the top, which is why I had to have it when we were there. The food is cooked to order, so it's a nice leisurely breakfast, and it was fantastic, although there was a slight incident. I may have been slightly hungover. The meal I ordered arrived and I believed it came with steak, and I was trying to find the steak and I just couldn't see it there, but I wasn't sure how thin the steak was. It said it was thinly cut steak and I couldn't see any, so I'm thinking, is this steak cut really, really thinly, or have they forgot it, or even worse, have they given me the wrong dish? So obviously I still ate it anyway and just kept wondering. Then we weren't going to say anything, but when she read the bill back to us, I did just say, I'm not sure there was any steak in my dish, which was meant to come with it. She looked quite horrified, the woman, and it caused a bit of a scene. She was trying to find out who served me, and luckily Linda had a picture of the dish on her phone, so she could prove I was supplied the right dish, so it was definitely gluten-free, which was kind of my main worry, concern. But she still knocked 10% off our bill because there may not have been any steak in it, which we actually felt very bad about. That's not what we were looking to achieve. We didn't want any money off. We just thought, well, I just need to find out to make sure what I'd eaten was gluten-free, really. That's the only reason I bought it up. Then we had a nice walk back, spent some time at the apartment, just chilling out in the lounge and conservatory. Then we went and met Jeff for a drink in a pub where we were going to watch the National. It is always such a big event in Liverpool. They see it as their race. Every pub has it on. Everybody in the pub crowds around the TV to watch it. Once again, I enjoyed watching the race in Liverpool. I did not have the winner this year. Well done to I Am Maximus and anybody who backed him. I did manage to get the horse that finished third, Jordan's, mainly because my mate's son is called Jordan. Only reason I picked it, but I did get some money back each way. Quite a spectacle as ever. It just seems sad that the whole thing had gone so quickly. After the race, we had another drink in there, and then Jeff headed off home, and Linda and I headed to another bar that we like, where they did have gluten-free beer. So I got to have a few beers there. We'd booked into a restaurant called the Fat Italian, which was just over the road, because they came quite highly recommended on a gluten-free website I found, and the gluten-free website was right. They were very good. They had a gluten-free menu for me. They brought me the allergens book, and our waiter was fantastic. I had a few questions about the allergens book and what it meant, and also what meals were best to order. Answered all my questions honestly and fairly, and had a brilliant meal. Garlic mushrooms for starters, and an Italian chicken dish for my main, which was fantastic. And also, as you'd expect from an Italian restaurant, the red wine was very nice in there. It's always the moment once I've had a main meal in a restaurant where I have to find out if there are any gluten-free desserts. Previously, before I was celiac, I would definitely have a dessert because I knew there'll be one I would like. Obviously, I need to know that there's some I could eat first. As it happens, they had some sundaes that were gluten-free, and one of them was a dime bar sundae. I do like dime bars. They're something I don't have very often. I kind of forget about them and just have them very occasionally, usually as part of desserts. But as soon as he said, I've got a dime bar sundae, I was there, ordered it straight away. It was great when it turned up. Just cream, ice cream, chocolate sauce, and I reckon a whole dime bar in there. There was loads of bits of it in the ice cream. It was fantastic. I was quite full at the end of it, I will be honest. After dinner, we did go for one more drink before we went back to the apartment again, just to sit in it and relax because it's such a lovely place. Had another drink there and just watched a bit of TV and relaxed. The final day before we drove home, as we felt guilty about what happened the day before, we went back to Azul Monkey and had another breakfast in there. We went straight up to the lady at the till who served us the day before. We had tried to trick them slightly just in case we were barred. Linda had booked the table in her name on the Saturday, and on the Sunday I booked it in my name. But obviously they recognised us straight away, and happily we weren't banned from the place. We did have a bit of a joke about what happened the day before, and as it turned out, they ended up sitting us on exactly the same table that we were on. But this time, all was fine. I definitely got the exact meal I ordered. It was fantastic. We had a great time. We paid them, obviously, and gave them a nice tip, as we do everywhere we eat that gives good food and good service. Then it was time for the long drive home. Another Aintree Grand National weekend completed. I'm already looking forward to next year. Well, what can I say about Tottenham Hotspur? I've been saying for some time that we are in real trouble at the moment, and my opinion hasn't changed. We need to start winning football matches, and it's difficult to see where it will come from at the moment. I can see the effort from the players, but the confidence is just not there, and because the confidence is not there, the decision making's not there. And I will say, we don't appear to be getting much luck, but you know, generally in life you make your own luck. The harder you work, the more you try, the more things will hopefully go your way. I still think we can stay up, but it isn't going to be easy, and we need to get some points on the board soon. I have only got 3 home games left this season. If we can win all 3 of those home games, we'll probably be okay. Fingers crossed. That is it for this time. Thanks for listening. Look after yourselves and each other, please, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.